Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock. I thought there was something on me. Start again. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're back with the series for the month of September, those other prog bands. This is turning out to be really good, interesting stuff. I really didn't know what to expect when we started this. I knew there'd be some obscure stuff. I knew there'd be some language issues. I knew there'd be a lot of bands that maybe were symphonic and I wouldn't have appreciated them that much, but I could never have predicted the number of bands that Ben chose for this tournament that I think are absolutely first rate. Like there's at least a dozen or maybe more than half of the bands in this tournament are first rate in my opinion. It's just unfortunate that some of them had to go out. I think some of the albums that I put out by other bands, I just say, how can I put that album out? It's so damn good. I've done it a half a dozen times now, so I don't know if I'm getting used to it or I'm just getting to the point where I know that this is going to happen, so it's not bothering me as much. But there's a couple of albums that I had to put out of this tournament a couple rounds ago that I just, I thought when I heard the first one, I didn't think anybody could beat it, and then the band they were battling beat them. So anyways, tonight's challenge, for those of you who don't know what we're doing, so we've got all these obscure progressive rock bands that maybe they only had a couple of albums, or maybe they had maybe they didn't have a great record label, or maybe they were big in their own country but didn't make it internationally, or maybe they had problems keeping members, or the arrangement of people was coming and going too much, or maybe they just came at the wrong time or in the wrong place. All these things are factors. I'm sure there's other factors as well that kept a lot of these bands from making that next jump to the next level. But for me and for you people on this channel who love prog music, you must love prog music because you're watching a prog nerd here, and there's lots of prog nerds on here, but these are all bands that you may want to check out. That's what I'm thinking, and that's part of the reason we're doing this, is to give people exposure to some of these bands that they may want to check out. So today we've got two really good ones. Semiramis, which is I'm going to put my glasses on. So their album came out in 1973. It's called Defacto a Frazz. Very proggy album on the Trident Studio label. Lots of really clear sounding vocals on this. The album is very actually clear. It's a very clear sounding album. I for that it gets a real high marks for that. The vocals are also very high range and articulate. He enunciates his words very well. Some really good instrumentation as well. The keyboards are good, but not overbearing. I don't think that they're too dominating. Sometimes you get too much synthesizer, especially, just kind of drowns out everything, and I don't find that here. The drummer's frontal, he's really good. I think the use of acoustic guitars on this album is really good. They use them appropriately, and they're dominating, but they are so good and really add a flavor to this album that you're not getting a lot of that here in this tournament, but you're getting some of it, and this is one of those bands that does it. One of their songs is really strong, really heavy. It's almost a rocker. This band is bordering on a little bit of a hard rocking band as well. Yeah, so I like this band quite a bit. Obviously, they've made it to the quarterfinals here, so they're doing really well. Now they're going to be up against, and I think I misplaced the notes. Oh no, here they are. They're up against a band that I think is among the best progressive rock bands to come into this tournament. I did not ever hear from them before, didn't know anything about them. Sorry, just people making a racket again. I seem to get that every time they know I'm here for some reason. Anyway, so the band that we're talking about today is Ethos, and the album is Ardour from 1976, a U.S. prog band. So right in that period of time when prog was starting to wane, they came out with this album. And I believe when I was on the Prog, well, I wasn't on there, but when I was watching the Prog Corner the other day, he was asking for, bands that did those two great albums, and I believe I said that this was one of those bands that had two really good albums. And then the guy from Laser's Edge, Ken Goldham, came on and said, no, they have a third one now. They put together another one. So I'm looking forward to finding that out as well. So anyways, this band, the album cover, as we've already mentioned in past videos, is kind of a white, an older man with a white flowering hair, almost like a Gandalf with a staff. And then you have he's holding a globe. The planet is very proggy. Of a planet. The album cover is really proggy, is what I'm trying to say. So this is dominated by keyboards, lots of piano on this. This is actually very reminiscent. Like, it doesn't sound anything like Kansas. It doesn't remind me of Kansas. However, they have a lot of the similar elements in their music. Lots of keyboards, lots of piano, really great vocals. Some great instrumentation, amongst the best in the tournament, I think. They do make some noise, like those little noises that you get with Pink Floyd. But in this case, it's children making noises and a few other things at different points. The vocals are strong here on this album. Some of the songs are better. There's a couple tracks that I really like, and I'm just going to talk about them a bit. The Spirit of Music, such a catchy track. This track alone is so impressive. The vocals are really impressive on this track, and the instrumentation, especially the mellotron, so good. Just one of the real great albums that I've discovered here. This is the first time for me that I've actually really enjoyed listening to a American prog band. I did enjoy the Star Castle, or Castle Star. Is it Star Castle? Yeah, it was Star Castle that Ben gave me on the on Ben's album challenge. But this is on a league unto its own. Such a great album, and it's now made me start to think that maybe I gotta go and start listening to some of these Kansas albums I have with a little more fortitude, instead of just putting them in the background and listening to them. I always had a problem, and I know I'm going to take some heat for this. I always had a problem with Steve Walsh's voice. Not his voice per se. I think he's a great vocalist. It's just sometimes he's so dominating that it just to me it just takes away. It's almost too much. But he has a strong voice. You can't take that away from him. That's the reason why so many people lament how great this guy is, and I can't say enough about him myself. But I don't know, sometimes his voice is just too strong, and I got to turn the music off. It just bothers me. I'm not sure why that is. But Ethos has made me think that I should go back and start listening to that stuff a little bit more closely. Yeah, so this is a great band. Lots of very strong atmosphere on this album. I think this is just a classically wonderful prog album in every sense of the word. This is so proggy, and yet it's an American prog band. So I'm giving my kudos to the Americans this time. And this wins fairly easily, even though I do like Semiramis' album quite a bit. It's not really too close. I think this album is just too dominating for them. And so Ethos will take their Ardour album into the semifinals. It's getting down there, getting close. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. Any comments about the album or anything I've said, please put them in the comment section below. And we will see you Well, the video will see you tomorrow morning, and then I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye.